Assalamu alaikum. Detroit, miles number 1. Yeah, I had a friend of mine call me, and on the three-way he had another friend of ours where he clicked him in. He said, we were just talking about you, Elamine. He said, where Pooh at, man? And he said, I got Pooh number, I'm gonna call him. You know, he changed his name. First of all, I ain't changed my name. Somebody else changed my name. But anyway, they called me. We reminisce and laugh. He's like, man, what's up with you? I'm like, man, I'm a man in the cloth now. You know, he's like, you always been a man in the cloth. I'm like, well, I'm walking that life. He said, you know what though, Pooh? He said, I can respect you for that. He said, cause you ain't had to go to prison and find no Islam. And I started laughing. He said, guys be killing me. Talking about some, you know, I found God, man, you know, in prison. He like, man, I can't respect that. This is what he's saying, right? So I'm like, wow. Interesting. But I said, yeah, I said, but to be real, you know, I was looking for God when I was fighting, you know, a case. I was fighting a bad case. I wound up fighting a couple of cases, and I was looking for God, and I just couldn't go back to the church because I already did some time and tried to do it with that Jesus situation, just that belief. No disrespect to y'all that still believe in that, but I already did that, and it didn't work, man. In fact, it made me more bitter. So I was just talking to myself and God, and you know, I got turned on to the Nation of Islam out here in the world, and I was out here for 2 years before I had to go to prison and do my time. So yeah, I found God out here, and I dealt with, you know, the studies and applying out here first. And then when I went to prison, I wasn't around prison. I was first of all, I was in the county when I first did my time with Islam. I did 2 years in the county. So I wasn't part of no Nation of Islam in prison. I did my own studying in prison, but I studied Dianetics. I didn't have no lessons or nothing. I had the Mr. the Black Man. I brought that to prison with me. So I studied their scholars, Freud and Six. I don't know these cats' names. I studied all their scholars, but I had Islam implanted in me in the world. But when I came home, I started living that continuance, living in the life that I had started 2 years prior to going to prison. I just continued that journey, and continuing that journey was a long process of love, long suffering for real. Because you got to fight with all those urges to get them out of you. I'm straight from the streets, money. I know who God is. So I had to, you know, give up a lot of things. And the first thing was my ego and my pride. Then I had to battle with that materialistic side. I beat all they behinds. I beat my ego behind. I beat my pride behind. And I finally got a grip on the materialistic part of it. So it took me years of making the right decision at hard times to establish myself and to recognize his deep observation. Because when you go to prison and come home, you gotta now apply that what you learned in prison. And in prison, some people say it was harder. It wasn't. It was easier, dude. No disrespect. It was easier. You didn't have to pay no damn bills. They gave you your food. You had to deal with a bunch of niggas. I understand that. You dealing with the doggy dog. I understand that. And you dealing with it more closely. So you have to be more, you know what I'm saying? I feel that perception of it. I've been to prison. I know what you're talking about. But out here now, you got to deal with these restricted laws of Islam from God. You got to deal with sleeping with women, beautiful women that's at you because you're a beautiful man now. Walking that righteous life. Women coming at you. You got to fight the urge to go back to what sent you to prison. If it was hustling, whatever it was. Shit, that don't mean everybody was hustlers that found Islam in prison. Niggas was crackheads, B&E artists, credit card fraud. Everybody wasn't hustlers. But my point is, when you come out in the world, you have to get a balance with that. And a lot of times, that is not as easy as it seems. I seen some brothers that put it down. Don't get it twisted. But they had a couple of bumps on their way, you know, getting their feet, you know, solid with their Islam, with their wife, and you know, and what have you. You understand what I'm saying? But I just said that because that brother said that to me. He told me he'd been to prison and everything. I ain't talked to him in a long time. He said he was down in California. He did some time down there, and blah, blah, blah. Blah, 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 blah. And so, I was just wild. That was interesting that you said that. You know what I'm saying? But I don't agree with it as 100%. But what I do recognize is the hard trial that you brothers gotta walk when y'all come home, man. And sometimes, a lot of times, brothers just want to get a wife, man, and help. Just be a helper, man. You know what I'm saying? Just come out and help and have a family, and you know, at that peace. You know, that's somebody who, you know, probably got some murder cases and stuff, and they just want that blood up off of them. And the only way you can get it up off of you, you gotta give your life to save a life, because you can never repay God. You can never repay God for murder. The only way you can do that is by giving your life a sacrifice and service to God. That's the only way. Even if you killed somebody in your ignorance time. You know what I'm saying? When I say ignorant, meaning you not self-defense. That's something completely different. But for a reason that you believe you did it for. If it wasn't for self-defense or for your family, that's what the reason I'm talking about. I'm saying you can't repay that. You only can repay that by giving your life a service to God. That's why I don't fear killers that met God. If you met God, I don't fear you, because a real person that have committed murder and have bumped into God are the most beautiful people and the most humblest person you will ever meet, because behind the conversation is a person that will lay your ass out. And so what happened, they be so respectful and understanding because they're listening for the love and the truth and the sincerity. But when they see it's some bull crap, they'll just be like, man, you on some bull crap, and fade away. As long as you're not, you know what I'm saying, pushing up in their circle. They're not finna engage with it like that. But those that be like that's some bull crap and engaging with you, that's not no real killer. That's a character flaw in the individual. Because like I said, a person who have crossed those lines and met God, they are the most keen people. They're the most detailed person in conversation that you will ever meet. That's why y'all love Bumpy Johnson. Bumpy Johnson stood for principles. But he didn't have no God in, you don't get it twisted. but he was a principled man. And so that's why I don't fear these guys, man, because I know them. I know a man who met God. Period. I don't care if it's Master Farad Muhammad, Jehovah's Witness, Jesus. I know a man who came, and I ain't talking about no man who ain't been out here busting no guns, cracking nobody in the head for women or money. If you ain't never did it for that, I'm not talking about you because you found Jesus, nothing like that. I'm not talking about you as a killer. You know what I'm saying? I'm talking about somebody who found God, Jehovah, Eli, whatever, and they come from that walk. Those type of people are the most, those the generals of God's army. Those men right there, I'm telling you about those sisters, that's the general of God's army. So I don't fear them. And why would I be feared of a coward that would shoot you for money, lust, greed, and jealousy? Them the last people that I'm scared of. Because God, when you're dealing with God, because I'm walking that life, dude. When you dealing with God, and you dealing with somebody that hates you for greed and jealousy and things of that nature, don't fear them type of cats, man. Because God gonna remove them, and He don't need you to do it. He removed those type of people with. He used the same type of ignorant person to remove the other ignorant person. And if the one that He used to get rid of this fool decides to change, he got a chance because he's still out here. You understand? So I just said all that to say, man, that he said that to me about prison. And I love brothers that come home from prison, man. I love them, dude. I love kicking it with them because I can get a real conversation with them. Assalamu alaikum.